Hey, what's up everyone? It's Dolbeck. Today in Where Wins Me. Today we are gonna speak about how the damage really work in this game. It's way more complicated than it looked like. Even like if you invest your point into critical rate and critical damage, you might not have a high critical rate, and I'm gonna tell you why and speak about more mechanic too. So let's get straight into it. So when you go into the detail area, you have access to your stats right there. Okay, I'm gonna start with the critical rate and the critical damage because this is what people already used in Western MMO. So I'm gonna start by telling you that precision is not only a range thing. Every hit in this game can use precision. So you have a precision rate, right? Right now I have 74%, and this means I have a 74% chance to hit a critical, but I have 17% chance of that critical hit to be a real critical. So there's a two-layer into it. The first layer is the precision rate that's gonna give you a chance to have a critical hit, and then you're gonna have another layer that is your critical rate that's gonna give you another chance to hit a critical hit. So I'm pretty sure that you can have a 100% precision rate. So then your critical rate gonna be like a default. But since we are capped right now, if you buff your critical rate too high and you don't buff your precision rate, it would just not really work good. And then for the affinity, you can hit a critical and a affinity hit at the same time. Affinity is a bit like a critical, but affinity attack deal 35% more damage. You can have some affinity rate, affinity damage, stuff like that, but the reality is affinity gonna hit less harder than a critical, but it's still a bit like a critical, and you can hit a affinity hit at the same time as a critical. So for the base damage, you can see right there, I have the physical attack and the attribute attack. So you can see that the attribute attack are based on your damage type. Okay, the physical attack, you can say it's a bit more your base damage, and then the attribute attack is just another layer on top of it. So your critical are only counted on your physical attack value right there. They are not counted on your attribute attack. And you see it's a 367 to 637, and it's a dice roll every time you hit an attack. It's a dice roll between your highest and lower number. As you can see in Arena, there is that thing called Abrasion that you can put up to 100%. Abrasion gonna make your base damage always hit on the maximum damage. My maximal damage would be 637 and my minimum 367. So Abrasion would make me hit always on 637. So it's like almost 100% more than your minimum, but it's still supposed to be a dice roll. Abrasion is good for the DPS, I think, if you're a tank, mostly into starter build, because as a tank, you just want to reach more critical resistance, affinity resistance, and stuff like that, you know? So right there, you see, since I'm a DPS, I up my precision, my affinity, and I'm gonna up my critical rate. But as a tank, since you don't want to waste your point into attack, you're gonna want to waste your point more into defense. Then having to spend into abrasion is better because you're only gonna have to waste one slot there instead of the having to go for precision and critical and affinity. It can always be affinity. Even if you have some abrasion, you can hit some affinity hit. So for your first 10 point as a 10, you should go for like 5 abrasion, 5 affinity, and then you go with the resistance, and then you see, I'm gonna explain those later. And as a DPS, you want to go for precision, critical rate, and affinity. And you see, since I don't really need the critical resistance, I'm gonna go for more like the DPS aspect. But critical resistance and affinity resistance is still really good, not gonna lie. And you want to reach your 20 point to go up, so I'ma probably have to add a 5 point into that since I don't really want abrasion. We spoke about that dice roll that gives you a chance to have high or low damage depending your minimum and maximum value. If abrasion put your minimum value to 100% always on the maximum, that means that your critical always gonna be selected with that maximal number. So abrasion gonna make your critical hit always be based off the max value of your damage output. So the sword that is the most used into arena is the no-name sword, and the no-name sword use the bell strike attack. So I think that if you want to go for one of the resistance, it should be the bell strike resistance. And then if you use a sword, you want the bell strike penetration. So for the penetration, it works like this. If an opponent have 500 defense and you have 200 penetration, their effective defense is reduced to 300. So penetration has always been something good for the DPS in any game, you know, in your ring, a part of the armor, a bit like the rend in New World. You kinda want that. But you still gotta remember that your main goal is to reach as far as you can into this because becoming immune to fatal damage and then recover 20% HP and become immune to all damage is just very overpowered. The way they say agility work is straight up how it work. It take your minimal physical attack right there and it pump it up. And same for the critical rate. It convert into it. But the momentum is different. For the momentum, there is a cap of 100. The momentum that you're gonna gain per hit gonna depend on your build. Let's say that you can get 10 momentum per hit. The conversion from momentum to affinity rate every 10 momentum add plus 1% affinity rate. So like at 50 momentum you have 25% crit chance and affinity chance up by 10%. For the basic attack, every landed strike add a small amount of momentum. For the skill attack, martial arts skill usually grant more momentum per hit than basic attack. Multi-hit skill each For the multi-hit skill, each individual strike within a combo contribute so rapid hit skill build momentum faster. Miss and block. If your attack is dodged, blocked, or missed, you don't gain momentum from that attempt. And for the interruption, being stunned or knocked down halts momentum gain until you resume attacking. So momentum slowly decay if you stop attacking. After you stop eating, there's a short delay, about 3 to 5 seconds, before momentum begin to drop. Once it starts decaying, momentum decrease gradually over time rather than vanishing instantly. So the decay rate for momentum is once it starts, you lose 5 to 10 momentum per second depending on your inner build, inner weight choice, and gear modifier. Some inner weight or equipment can slow the decay rate, letting you hold momentum longer between attacks. So momentum is just a mechanic that is made to reward continued aggression. So the attribute attack is just whatever is not a physical attack. Let's say your martial art like the frog jump and stuff like that. Your critical damage bonus is what you get every time you do a critical. You can put it up with some passive. Same for the affinity. When you hit the affinity hit, this is what it's gonna do. And then I did not do too many tests, but I'm pretty sure that you don't need precision to hit critical healing. So this is one difference between probably the healer and the DPS. Like I said, physical penetration is a way to penetrate enemy defense. Let's say that I have 40 defense and the enemy have 40 penetration, he's gonna penetrate my defense. And the attribute attack penetration is gonna be only for my specific damage type. Like right now, I use Bell Strike. So this is it for this video. I want to thank everyone for watching my content. I'ma be live on Twitch and YouTube, Dolbeck Entertainment on YouTube, with a space in between, and with no space in between on Twitch. I want to thank everyone once again. Peace out.